Okay, welcome back to fuzzytutor.com. My name is Jerry, and we're going to cover the word list that we talked about, which was drills 1, 2, and 3. And again, you can get those from fuzzytutor.com. Mouse over courses and videos on the menu. It is a drop-down menu that will have Esperanto towards the bottom of that drop-down, and then you click on that. At the bottom of that page, you'll see a word list. Practice sheets. Those practice sheets will correspond with the word lists that are available through the Memrise, which is just above that at the top of that Esperanto page on the right-hand link. So go ahead and click that, and that'll give you a copy of the word list, which you can just see the word list on Memrise, or you can use the Memrise functionality to study and practice and master those, which I would recommend, of course. Okay, so let's look at just a few of the sample ones. We're going to start with dankon. Dankon is an interesting word. Dankon means thank you, right? So we have the accusative n, and if you've looked at some of the other videos, we talk about the accusative n. Accusativo, I believe, is what it is in Esperanto. Accusative. I'm a terrible speller, especially in English. So accusative n. So the accusative n is anytime there's a transitive verb, anytime a verb is acting on a noun. So let's look at this. Thanks to you. I give thanks to you, you might say. Right? So thanks is the verb, because that's what you're doing, you're thanking. It's transitive. It's being acted upon this noun. This is the receiving noun of this transitive verb. Therefore, the noun is accusative. And the reason this is in Esperanto is because when you have people from many different languages talking to each other or corresponding through letters, a sentence might be, let's just say, robust. It's not a run-on sentence, but it's a robust sentence, and there are several nouns or verbs within the sentence. The accusative lets you know what the object of the sentence is that's being acted upon. For example, la hundo ŝatas likes la knabo. So the hound likes the dog. Okay, the dog likes the boy. Excuse me. La hundo, the hound or dog, likes the boy. Okay, so now if this sentence were, let's say, much longer, you may become confused about what's going on, or you may think that it says the boy likes the dog. Depending on how language is structured within your native tongue, you may assume that it says that this translates to the boy likes the dog. And see, this is where we have to get out of that frame of mind that we get to as Americans. We tend to have this idea that we're the center of the universe, and that is really, it's not good in many ways, but especially when it comes to learning a language. You have to understand that other parts of the world phrase things differently, and to be honest, in a lot of cases, much more logically. But in this case, this could be confusing. Who's liking what here? Depending on where they put the verb or the noun or the adjective within their sentence structure in their country, this can become confusing. But as an American or as somebody from Portugal or France, you may want to keep your original sentence structure. That's going to be simpler to you than trying to think about, okay, who am I speaking to? What country are they from? Because remember, there's 130 countries that have people that speak Esperanto. So, that said, what we can do is we can include that accusative. So we'll do it in green here. So, la knabo. So I could say, la hundo ŝatas la knabo. And I'm going to stick with the Americanized version that would be structured to say that the dog likes the boy. But to make sure that everyone understands that, we're going to do it just like this. La hundo ŝatas la knabon. So here's our transitive verb. This is the action that's being done to someone. Okay, hang on, I have to answer that phone. Okay, where was I? So, la hundo ŝatas la knabon. La hundo ŝatas la knabon. So we see that the hound, transitive verb, acting on the boy. Okay? So this was one of our words from our vocab, but we were able to discuss it in terms of the accusative because, excuse me, it does end in N. And you might think to yourself, well, why is that end in N? And that's why. So let's look at another word from the list of words that were given. I'm going to read through them real quick. You should have had boato, boat, bone, well, dankon, de, en facto, havi, ho, ideo, imiti, inviti, kato, kio, mi, mia, musico, ne, nu, nun, pipo, tie, tio, uzi, vi, via, birdo, blua, familio, honoro, Carlo, clubo, la, laboro, lerni, letero, li, lia, loca, longa, Mario, multa, Pariso, patro, patrino, por presidanto, rapidi, tablo, tre, advocato amas ancao, certe, ce, cune, vere, decidas, decidis, dentisto, devas, esperantisto, estas Europo granda gis revido, gis la, juste, Jaime, hodiau, horo, ne, perdonu min, horo, that's choir, horo. Notice that I have to make sure that I'm pronouncing that circumflexed H, or that circumflexed ho. Horo, instruisto internacia, jes giornalo, not giornalo, as in measure. And if you see the alphabet video, I said like SH, but it's more like double S. That letero yo con la circumflex, with the circumflex, okay? Giornalo, where the G is much more abrupt and sharp. It's J versus J. Kai, kiel vi fartas, conferenzo, curacas, lingvoi, memoras, posto, saluton, sed, universitato, venis, kai vidis. Do, tio, ci tiu estas la tuta vortoin vi bezonas memoras. Por nun. Okay, so that's the total amount of words that you have to memorize for now. But let's go over a few more of those. Actually, let's recap dankon one more time. So dankon. Dankon, so you could say danko, and that would be a word. That would be the thing thanks. That would be the noun of thanks, right? Danki would be to thank, right? To thank. And I put that in quotation marks just to draw your attention to that letero I in la fine de vorto. Do, I estas to thank, yeah? Danki estas to thank. So we ended up with dankon with the accusativa, which means that we're saying thanks to you. It's a word that means thanks to you. And you're expressing that transitive verb of thanks onto the recipient of your gratitude. Okay, and that's why it has the accusative N. Let's look at another accusative that we might have. So here's a tricky sentence. La hundo, let's change color there. La hundo shatas la knabo kai knabino. Okay, so what we have here is we have the hound, or the dog, right? Here's our dog. He has a transitive verb, right? He's acting on knabo and knabino. Oops. Knabino. So the in, right there, right? In. Let's circle that. The in is the feminine of boy, so girl. So that dog likes the boy and the girl. So how would we write this? We're not going to put an N here and here. So what we're going to do is use an affix called ge. So la hundo shatas la geknabo. Geknaboin. So now we have our accusative. We have the plural letero yo. And we have the affix ge. Ge means both genders included. Okay? So in the case of the boy and the girl, we could say ge knaboin. Right? We have our accusative because it's being acted on by that shatas, yes, from la hundo. Right? It's more than one, two. So there's our plural. Right? And it's two genders, so there's ge. Now this is definitely more advanced than where we're at right now, but this gives us an idea of what's to come. La hundo shatas la geknaboin. Now, let's look at this from a different perspective. Let's say, what if it was both boys? Well, then it'd be la hundo shatas la knaboin. And we wouldn't use this part. What if it was a brother and sister? See, now here's an example where we could say la hundo shatas la ge fratoin. So we have our accusative, we have our plural, we have including both genders because it's the brother and the sister. If it was just the brothers, it would be fratoin without the ge. Okay? If it was just sisters, it would be fratinoin. Right? Frato is brother. Fratino, therefore, there's our in, right, that we talked about earlier. Where do we put it? Here it is. In, right? Fratino. Just like knabino goes from boy, knabo, to knabino, girl. Frato goes from boy, brother, to fratino, sister, female. Okay? So, if that was still confusing, go ahead and watch that a couple more times. And if it doesn't completely jive, trust me, within the next couple videos, you'll think back to it and be like, okay, that's what was going on there. So this was just kind of like a bonus feature of things to come. All right. Gis la revido.